Hey everyone, what's going on? Wrapping up the end of the week here. It is a late Friday night, and this past week, after hearing about it for at least a year, about the 4 Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss, it's been recommended by plenty of friends and family, and I finally got around to reading it. So I just thought that I would share a few things that I think would be pretty impactful and that could definitely help out in whatever you're doing. So I found this article here. It sums up pretty well basically what I was trying to take away from it. Um, so what he teaches about time management specifically, because it's definitely something that a lot of people deal with. So I saw a bank that said 24-hour banking, but I don't have that much time. It's written by Stephen Wright, a comedian. How much would you pay for an extra hour in the day? We feel your struggle. Unfortunately, the world has graced us with Tim Ferriss, and he talks about adopting selective ignorance. So this book has intrigued me, but I didn't really read it until this past week. It's easy to make jokes on the premise of this book, basically highlighting what the millennial generation is. But this book isn't about cutting corners, taking the easy way out, or being lazy. It's more of a call to work. It's a call to reevaluate activities that you perform every day, oftentimes without giving it a second thought. So one quote in the book that really struck a chord to me was this by Stephen Wright, what he had mentioned about about seeing a bank that was open 24 hours, but him not having that much time. So he's kind of poking fun at how much time we have during the day, and we're all given 24 hours in the day, but many of us don't know how to manage it. I'm guilty of that, like many other people. But for context, I've been struggling with time management over the past few months, and frankly, a lot of times, that can be a big issue. Whether it's a lot of times it's not because of a lack of effort. Sometimes you can even count the number of the amount of times over the past few weeks where you felt like you weren't really looking up from your computer. Or you finally look up and you say, "Oh wow, it's dark outside," So it's easy to get caught up in the screen. But found here lesson number one: adopt selective ignorance. Most information is time-consuming, negative, irrelevant to your goals, and outside of your influence. 1/5 of a CEO's time is spent reading the news or engaging on social media, according to the Time magazine. Be selective with what you read at work, and you will improve productivity and get more done. Rest you don't need. So I thought of sometimes being at work and you're getting pulled in many different directions. So you take an incoming call, you follow up with an email, you have a Zoom meeting, a coworker calls you over for something, asking a question, or you're asking your coworker a question, making a cold call, receiving an incoming call, an email. It's just kind of a game of tennis back and forth. It's like getting pulled in many different directions, but staying in the same place. So if you're not disciplined with, maybe blocking time or being consciously aware of what you're wanting to get done and your objectives, it's easy to get a bit lost. However, time management is kind of one of those things that people talk about, but you just don't want to hear it. It's kind of like brushing your teeth twice daily or eating vegetables. We all know that, it's good to brush your teeth twice daily because you want nice teeth. It's good to eat vegetables because you want to be healthy, but you don't want to hear people going on and on and on about it because you know already, right? So that's kind of what I thought about time management. But after reading this, it kind of struck a chord in me and got me thinking. So lesson number two, use the time you do have. Since we have 8 hours to fill, we fill 8 hours. If we had 15, we would fill 15. So this is Parkinson's Law, which argues that work expands to fill the time available for its completion. So set yourself tight deadlines and stick to them. Time is wasted in proportion to the amount that is available. If you give yourself an entire day to complete an hour-long task, you'll likely use the entire day. The key to Parkinson's Law is to create a sense of urgency. Remember university? Those late nights trying to scrape together an essay was never fun, but boy, they were focused. Set false deadlines in a tight time frame and stick to them. Added pressure increases productivity and gives you back your time. I couldn't help but smile thinking about college at times. Maybe you're cramming for a test at the last minute, and you're a bit tired, and you're not sleeping very much, but you finally realize, wow, I was able to, I was able to absorb a lot of the information throughout the semester, and then cramming at the end kind of hit it home. You end up getting a decent grade on it. But I guess the point is that added pressure of studying, having a hard deadline for your final, or any sort of hard deadline, can increase your productivity and make you adopt any means necessary to stay disciplined and focused on your goal. So lesson 3, focus on the 20%. One of the biggest lessons learned from the 4-hour work week is the 80-20 rule, Pareto's principle. So this rule applies to everything. 80% of negativity comes from 20% of the people. 80% of the revenue comes from 20% of your clients, so on. So Tim recommends automating the non-essential and focusing on your profitable clients. If you apply yourself to the core 20%, you'll regain time without seeing a decrease in business performance. And yeah, and that can really go for anything. Like you even mentioned, that can go with personal finances. That can go with spending habits, different things like that, the 80-20 rule. So it's something really important to consider. Lesson 4, outsourcing. The first rule of any technology used in a business is automation applied to an efficient operation will magnify the efficiency. The second is automation applied to an inefficient operation will magnify the inefficiency. So basically, it's just talking about, I guess, maximizing your time. So minimizing time, the minimum time input, maximum output, that's the goal. So workplace automation is the key to regaining time. Virtual assistants and apps are your friends. They give much needed support and help you offload these irrelevant but important errands. Time is precious and we don't utilize it. Only half of the time in the workplace is spent working. The rest consists of unimportant meetings, emails, and admin, which you can automate. And to hit it home here, never automate something that can be eliminated, and never delegate something that can be automated or streamlined. Otherwise, you waste someone else's time instead of your own, which now wastes your hard-earned cash. And no one likes to lose hard-earned cash, especially if it's their own, right? So this book really sheds light on the frustration of knowing that much of your time spent, in your life is spent on smaller, minuscule, or administrative tasks, not just with work, but just in life in general. But it's part of getting work done. And this book has been a big eye-opener and has given me more perspective. And I hope you got something out of this. And let me know what you think. Talk soon.